Hola chicos. So this is a video for section 1.2. I'm going to share the ebook with you. For this one, I do not have a PowerPoint because it's a rather short section, and it only take a few minutes to walk through it with you. But I did want to give you the chance to repeat back with me the numbers and to point out a few things that I think are important to note that the textbook does a really good job of pointing out, and this will get us started so that you can go ahead and start working on this section. So again, for this section, we're looking at numbers 0 to 30. Further on, we'll have 31 to, I believe, up to 999. And then from there, we have a third section on numbers that take us in the thousands and so on and so forth. But we'll start small with these first 31 numbers that we want to learn how to use. And the first thing I'll say to you is that this should be treated as vocabulary. These are words that you need to know both how to spell, as well as need to know what they mean in order to be able to use them. And so this is, the numbers are essential for kind of survival Spanish, for if you were in a situation where you did need to communicate information with someone. Numbers are very, very important to be able to do that, especially if it were in a healthcare setting, or if it were in a on the street type of setting where, you know, I'm just thinking through various situations where you may need to know the numbers. Even students that study the numbers well can get a little flustered because they're not always communicated in the same way in a different language. And so it's a good section to slow down and take a little bit of time on to commit these to memory and work with these. Quizlet is really great with practicing those and doing flashcards and games, along with all of the activities that I've asked you to do for the section as well, will help to really reinforce committing these numbers to memory and being able to use them. So with that said, let's go ahead and I'll read them and put a space in between each, and so you can hear my pronunciation of them, and then you get a chance to say them back to me. So let's go ahead and start. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can move to the next column. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Muy bien, chicos. So aquí, often in the margins, our text will add a little help or variations that you may see. So it does tell us that you may also see them written as 3 words. For example, 16, 17. The text offers them in all one word up to 0 to 30. And 31 is where we start to see this type of organization of numbers change a bit in the more common use of 30 and 1, 30 and 2, that type of counting. But up to 30, the textbook will present them like this. Just know that they can also be written, the numbers 16 through 29, written as 3. A few other things that we need to take into consideration. So we have a couple of special numbers that we want to be careful with. Uno, as well as 21. When those are placed before nouns, they tend to change a bit. And so here we have, if we were to say one man, we wouldn't say uno hombre, but rather because when uno comes before a singular masculine noun, it tends to drop the O. Or if it comes before more than one, if it comes before men, for example, with the example of 21 hombres, we make it 21. And we add an accent to it. If it's before a singular masculine noun, we drop the O and we would say un hombre, 21 hombres. Same thing with the feminine side of the numbers. So it wouldn't be uno mujer, we change it to una mujer. Or if there are 21 women, we would change it to 21 mujeres. Okay, so those change a little bit. We'll see the same thing happen with 31, 41, 51, 61 when placed in front of a masculine or feminine noun. Those are just ones that we have to be wary of and careful with. Other things that they point out, is that cuando el número sigue al sustantivo, it tends to be used in the masculine form, right? So if the number comes after, then we tend to leave it in the masculine. To ask or to say how many of a particular item or noun there is or there are, we tend to use cuantos or cuantas. Cuantos before masculine and cuantas before feminine nouns. And then we also have the question of, or the question word of I to ask, is there or are there? Or to respond and say there are or there is, right? We can simply use this I as well in order to express that. And so we see a couple of those examples below. So cuántos estudiantes hay? How many students are there? And we correspond by saying there are 6 estudiantes en la foto. O la otra pregunta, ¿hay chicos en la fotografía? Hay 3 chicas y no hay chicos. Meaning, so we use that cuantos, cuantas quite a bit when we're quantifying, saying how many of a noun there are, or there are, and then we use that cuantos, qué sé yo, cuantos libros hay 3 libros. And so we use those quite a bit in order to ask how many of something there are and to say how many there actually are. And so then you've watched the tutorial, read the text on your own, and you've now watched my tutorials. Then again, the next step would be inténtalo, and then continue on and practice with the online practice activities. Okay, so I'll stop the video there. Suerte y nos vemos en el siguiente video. Gracias, chicos.